Hello, and welcome to our 8th D&D 3.5 Prestige class review. In this video, I'll be going over the various aspects of a particular D&D 3.5 Prestige class, and evaluating the class on its concept and execution. I'll also give my thoughts on each of its class features, as well as some ideas for how I would improve the Prestige class. Today we're going to be looking at the Scarlet Corsair. This is a Prestige class from the Stormrack supplement, which is focused on adventures on the high seas. This Prestige class in particular is meant for a deadly pirate duelist character, one who is described as leaving behind a bloody trail of carnage. Its features focus on feinting in combat and frightening foes. To qualify to be a Scarlet Corsair, you will need a base attack bonus of +5 or higher. Seeing as rogues are the class who benefit the most from feinting in combat, this restricts the Prestige class to those of level 7 or higher. You will need at least one rogue level due to the requirement of sneak attack 1d6. Spell Thief is another option, of course. You'll also need 8 ranks in Bluff, Intimidate, and then 4 ranks in Profession Sailor. Lastly, you must have non-lawful alignment and a reputation as a fearsome pirate. These requirements are going to mean this class will likely be populated by Fighter Rogue multiclass or Swashbuckler Rogue multiclass characters. Something like a Fighter Spell Thief or Swashbuckler Spell Thief could also be an interesting twist on the concept. A Barbarian Rogue could also work, especially if you were to take the Intimidating Rage feat from Complete Warrior, allowing you to potentially leave an opponent frightened of you after a single round, thanks to fear effects from different sources stacking. In addition, your free action Demoralize from Intimidating Rage should be affected by your Scourge of the Seas ability at level 5. But perhaps we are getting ahead of ourselves here. This Prestige class is a solidly average D8 hit die. We would expect nothing less from a class meant to fight on the front lines. You get 4+ intelligence modifier skill points at each level, which is a decent amount, though it will be a downgrade for the rogues taking this class. Let's take a look at class features. At level 1, you get Improved Feint as a bonus feat without needing the prerequisites. This is a decent feature right off the bat, as it means you can avoid needing not only the combat expertise feat itself, but the 13 intelligence required to take it. For a melee-focused character who needs multiple good ability scores, this can be very helpful. Feinting is usually a terrible strategy in combat, but as we'll see, this class makes it worth the trouble. At level 2, you get Sneak Attack 1d6. This increases to 2d6 at level 6 and 3d6 at level 10. Even though you will already have some Sneak Attack coming into this class, this feature helps the class support its own feinting-focused features. It could progress a little bit faster, but it's not bad for what it is. At level 3, you gain the Corsair's Feint feature. This lets you make a feint as a free action rather than a move action once every 2d4 rounds. At level 7, this cooldown period drops to once every 1d4 rounds. With Sneak Attack, you should always be trying to flank enemies to get your extra damage, and in a pirate campaign with a whole ship full of crew, this should be no exception. But sometimes you're going to have no one to flank with, and in that case this feature will come in handy. Bluffing to Feint is going to have a roughly 50-50 chance of working against the kind of monsters you tend to be fighting in a D&D party, assuming you're maxing out your bluff skill and have a decent charisma. The biggest downside to this feature is of course the fact that you'll be waiting 2 to 5 rounds on average to use it again, but it is still nice to have. At level 4, you get the class's only ship-related feature, Sailor's Step. This gives you a +2 dodge bonus to armor class while on a ship and wearing light armor or no armor. At level 8, this goes up to +4. This is a welcome boost for a lightly armored rogue character. It doesn't have much relevance to the rest of the class's features, but more armor class is always welcome, and this comes at a character level between 9 and 11 where it will still be somewhat relevant. Also, it's good flavor for a class meant to be for pirates. At level 5, you gain the feature Scourge of the Seas. Whenever you use Intimidate to demoralize enemies, it affects all enemies within 30 feet of you rather than just one, and lasts a number of rounds equal to your charisma modifier. This ability is excellent, particularly when combined with something like the Intimidating Rage feat I mentioned earlier that lets you make the check as a free action. There could be some obscure rules minutiae forbidding this, but it seems that this ability applies to any Intimidate check made to demoralize foes. This can at the very least heavily debuff a lot of nearby enemies. That said, the Game Master might not enjoy rolling all of those wisdom-based level checks during a crowded battle on the deck of a ship. At level 9, you gain Frightening Lunge. This is an ability akin to the ambush feats from Complete Scoundrel. You give up 2d6 sneak attack damage to render your foe shaken with no saving throw. This could be combined with Scourge of the Seas, as they are different abilities, which would cause enemies that you sneak attack to then become frightened of you. This is a very powerful ability, although a lot of creatures are immune to fear. That said, there is no saving throw, so if they aren't immune to fear, they're going to be in trouble. So, overall, I would give this prestige class 4 stars for flavor and 3 stars for execution. Its features are somewhat disparate, and it could use a slightly stronger sneak attack progression to make up for that. The Corsair's feint feature would be excellent were it not for the cooldown, so to speak, between uses. Scourge of the Seas and Frightening Lunge are excellent options for controlling opponents on the battlefield. The idea of jumping onto an enemy ship and immediately demoralizing most of the crew is a compelling one. Frightening Lunge is a quite powerful ability as well. Unfortunately, you'll likely be level 16 when you finally get it. Scarlet Corsair isn't hugely powerful as a prestige class, but it's probably the best option for feinting in 3.5, besides the Invisible Blade, and that prestige class limits itself to daggers. If I had made this prestige class, I would have given 1 extra die of sneak attack to have it almost keep up with the rogue, and I would have reduced the cooldown for Corsair's feint to 1d4 rounds. Then at level 7, which is likely character level 14 or higher, I would have had it work every round. Or perhaps only have the cooldown of 1d4 rounds kick in if you failed a bluff check to feint. Even without those changes, it is still a decent prestige class, and aside from perhaps the Dread Pirate, it would be my first pick for a pirate character in D&D 3.5. So, that's about it for this prestige class review. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, etc. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.